to our podcast.
For my future self, it's your girl, Callie.
And it's your girl, Serena.
So today, we have a beautiful, lovely guest with us.
Once again.
Another guest back to back. Who are we? So today, we have the lovely Hannie, and she is our friend. Before, for me, used to be an acquaintance, but
sure.
I call her my friend now. So
we're friends, period.
We're friends. And so I don't know if you guys follow on Instagram, which you should, but she's all about happy hormones with Hannie. We'll dive into that, and she's just one of the women in the community that have inspired us, that we wanted to bring onto the podcast today, just to show her love and support, and all the more for her to tell her story. And yeah, so we're really happy to have you.
We want you guys to get to know her, because just her energy, her vibe has always been like A1. She's also, if you look at her page and stuff, she like knows a lot of shit.
She does.
She
Very
puts
educated.
you guys on your shit, especially you women out there. So we want you guys to get educated. We want you guys to get to know her, and we're going to get to know her too. I mean, it's still the start, you know?
Okay, so since we already basically talked for you, we can end the podcast right now. I know she's just sitting here.
I'm good. I'm sat.
I'm here. I'm face beat.
Yeah.
But go ahead and introduce yourself even more. But even though we gave you a cute little.
Yeah. Well, thanks for having me.
Yes.
I'm Hannie, or Coach Hannie. I'm an online nutrition, fitness, and mindset coach. I've been coaching for about 4 years now. I was like born from the pandemic. I had my early quarter life crisis, and I was like, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I thought I wanted to go med school, and now I'm running my own business. I never thought I would run my own business, and now I'm doing it. I'm never looking back.
So your name is Hannah.
Yeah.
Hannah.
Yeah.
But where did Hannie come from?
I don't even know, because like growing up, nobody ever called me Hannie. Like I got like Han, and that's about it. Or like I had my Vietnamese name is Yi, so like they would just call me that. Yeah. But like Hannie, I don't even know when it started. It was just like, I think in the last few years, like somebody said it, and then it caught on, and then it was like different than Hannah. So I was like, that's cute.
That's cute.
Let me run with it.
Okay. Yeah. So the nickname came in a little later in your life. That's amazing. Wow.
Yeah. It wasn't like a whole, everybody thinks like, have you been like called that? I was like, no, it's like literally so new for me.
Is that what everyone calls you now?
Yeah.
Hannah.
Yeah.
And I prefer it too. Like, or it's different because like with family, nobody calls me Hannie, right? But like more like friends, my boyfriend now does too. But like, even like going out to like coffee shops, I'll be like, hey, Hannie. Actually, I'm Hannie now.
I'm Hannie. And then even your community and like your clients, everyone you meet new is Hannie.
Yeah.
So it's just like,
it's your stage name.
Sasha Fierce.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like your Sasha Fierce name, basically.
Yeah, because every time I hear like Hannah, I'm like, what did I do?
So explain, like, you're a coach.
Right.
Yeah. Now, you do more than just like fitness, right?
Yeah.
Which I think is really in now. It's nice to see not just fitness incorporated in it, you incorporate mindset and all that good stuff. So if you want to get into like what it entails and how you pretty much coach, are they all women?
Yes. So I only work with women. I think like it's really important to tell like the story about like health and fitness. And like you said, like it's more popular now these days to speak more on like the mindset side of stuff or the mental health side of stuff. Even like, I'll be honest, like myself, like I came into coaching, but I thought like, I'm good at like teaching people how to eat healthier. I know how to teach you how to move your body. But like it quickly turned into like, oh, we're having like deeper conversations about like why, you know, we have guilt around certain foods, or why do we feel like we have to punish our bodies if we don't go to the gym, or if we have this cookie or something, or it like even deeper now that it goes into like your relationship with yourself and your childhood and trauma. I mean, it's like it turned into this whole thing, right? And I was like, wow, I didn't know that that's what I was like signing myself up for. So like, in learning to support my clients with that when I was like a very young and newer coach, I was like, oh, hold on, that means I probably should be doing some work with myself, right? Because you got to practice what you preach and all that good stuff. So I was doing a lot of like exploration with my own relationship with food and fitness, because I think like all of us, we grew up with like the magazines, the movie stars who were like teeny tiny models. And again, I've been like, my build, I'm a smaller frame anyways, but like even being that, like I still wanted to be like teeny tiny and small and like the smallest version of myself. And with that came like disordered eating patterns and like going to the gym 24/7 or like doing cardio only. So in like trying to teach my clients to do the opposite, because I knew that wasn't the way to go, I was like, yeah, but I still needed to heal like the mindset and what I used to believe. Even if I was teaching the opposite, like something within me, I could still feel those like tendencies here and there. So it just like like the work that I'm doing with women now reinforces me to also check in with myself, because if I'm not doing that, then I'm going to forget what they need to be tapping into if I'm not also like checking myself. So it's really important to me to really dive deeper into not only like, are you moving your body enough? Are you eating the right things? But like, you talking to yourself? Like, are you asking her what she needs? And like, are you healing, you know, either your younger self or you're looking to your future self? It goes beyond just eating healthy or being healthy. Like, health is just so much more than just a feeling or like a, you know, like a physical being. It's like your mental, emotional, and your spirit.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Period. I really want to touch on what you said about like, okay, these women, these people are going through real life things on top of their goals within fitness. And you're like, whoa, like you probably didn't even realize yourself that you needed to tap into that. And so I think what's so different about the way you have approached fitness, same thing with like Tati and all the girls out there who are kind of changing the game within fitness. Like you guys are tapping into just the people and like what they need as human beings on top of just physical health. Because if your mental health isn't right or not right or isn't focused on, then you can't focus on other areas of your wellness. And so I don't know, a surface level of approaching fitness and having all these goals, it's so like out of, I don't know, it's so different. It's a different approach, and I feel like people are scared of it. It's pretty scary, and like I kind of wanted to ask you, like, what were your first experiences, like just discovering this new perspective on wellness other than fitness? Like, how did you feel? You were younger, you were like, what is this? Like, am I supposed to go to therapy? Like, what am I supposed to do?
People out there, we mentioned this before in a podcast, but like there are people, and like we're so, I feel like this specific group of people and the women that we're surrounding ourselves with, we're so in tune with ourselves. We're all about awareness of who we are and how we are mentally. But I do feel like majority of people probably don't have that.
So
it's probably uncomfortable.
100%. I think like I love to talk about this where like you hear like, just listen to yourself, listen to your body, listen to your intuition, and people are like, a lot of women are like, what do you mean? Like, no, just tell me what to do, right? Like if I'm told, I'll do it. But like, so in healing that like piece of me, I think like, I don't know, like I don't even like, I hate to say there wasn't like this big aha moment, but I think it was like that, like just not feeling like what I was doing in my life was in alignment with like what I actually wanted to experience. Like I was like, I'm doing all the right things, I think, but like why am I not happy, or like why are they not like manifesting? So yeah, like what you mentioned, like a lot of people are probably scared of this approach is because we've been taught and conditioned that like there's like a box that you need to do, like here's a fitness program, if you do it you will get results. And like you hear these stories, and this, like the women that I work with is like they've done the 90-day challenges, they've done the fat loss thing, they've done the program, they've done the personal trainer who yells at them and shit, and they're like, well, like I've been doing that for years and still nothing like feels good. So it can be scary because it's like, I feel like, one, you say to yourself like, okay, I've done everything. What do you mean there's something else that like would actually work? And like, I've already put in so much time and energy. So it's scary to like jump into something new. Again, it's just like being burnt in like a relationship or something. It's like you're scared to like try it again because like you've already been burnt before. So I definitely know that like fear behind like why sign on with another coach or why try again. But you know, I think it's always important to also check yourself and say, wait, like have I actually tried everything? Like you've tried everything that you thought or that people have told you to do. What about the side of like literally just stepping in with yourself and being like, wait, like what do I literally need? Like what does my body want, or what feels good to me, and like what brings me joy? So I think when we talk about fitness and health, sometimes like our immediate thought is like, I want to look a certain way, right? And that's great. Like the physical side of stuff is beautiful. It's amazing. We want to feel and look confident, but also like even in my business too, I like to now think about it like the mindset shift of like, how do I want to feel in my body? Like when I go to this experience, or when I'm hanging out with friends or family, or when I go on vacation, how do I want to feel in my body? Like how do I like experience this like fun thing? Am I like feeling energetic? Am I feeling the joy behind it? Can I actually like sit there and say like I had a really great time, instead of being like hyper fixated on like, oh, I have to make sure like in that photo, in this experience, that I look really good. But like, you know, that's a piece of it. But I think like if you have to remember like it needs to be holistic, right? You can't just only focus on being in a box and like trying to force something to work, when it's like, no, just ask yourself, would that actually work for me? Does that resonate with me? Is that something that I think is sustainable?
Yes.
So you think every, like pretty much each client of yours has their, think about it, it's like their own program in a way, right? It's like catered to more of their wants and needs compared to like, here's a step-by-step like everyone else pretty much.
Absolutely. Because like what I noticed too is like some women, like a lot of us too, like we just want to like tell me what to do. I will do it because I know I want the result after that. But like one of my like biggest disclaimers on like my very first calls is like, hold on, okay, I'm going to share with you the pillars of my program, all the things and values that are really important to me. I'm also going to share with you like the 4 different phases, but I'm never going to tell you that you're going to finish phase 1 in this time, phase 3 in this time, that you're going to be quote unquote done by the time you're done with me, because you're never done, right? Once you commit to this journey, you're committing to like exploration and learning and awareness, and like this whole thing is like you start out, you're signing on for the rest of your life, right? So like what I love to tell clients is like, you know what we're doing together is just like at least setting up milestones together to say like, what do you want to feel and accomplish during our time together, and what does that feel like, so that you're not looking for a specific tangible all the time of, if I lose the 10 pounds, I did it, like I got it, right? Of course there's a piece of like that physical side that we focus on, but there's also like, you know, one of the first things my clients do with me is called my big 6. So they do like a big 6 goals that they want to accomplish in the next 6 months, or at least made really great strides towards. And they also do something called things I want to release. Like, what are like things around your relationship with yourself, around your relationship with fitness? Like some things that come up are like, I want to release perfectionism. I want to release, you know, this self-imposed pressure that I always put on myself. Like, I think those things are things that you should also be focusing on when you're going into this health journey, because you have to know, like, if you're coming into this and you're like, Hannie, I just want to lose 20 pounds. Sorry, but like you're getting the boot. Like I don't work with women like that. And it's not to your fault. Maybe like in your season, like that's what you want to focus on, but like that's not what I find important. And that you know, the kind of woman I want to work with is holistic. She knows that there's more than just the physical, you know?
And I applaud that, because as a business owner, especially if you're just starting off, right? I mean, have you had those moments of, well, I need to make that money, make that bread. I'm going to have to just take this client on. Were you like that in the beginning? Or like, because it's nice that now you can pick and choose. Like if you know that it's not going to work out.
No, and I'll be honest, like especially as like a newer coach, you're just like, I want to work with everybody, because like one, it's like you want to help everybody, right? And I was also very scared to even niche down. Like a year ago, like I hired my business coach and she was like, you need to niche down. And I was like, why? Because like I want to help her, I want to help her, and I can help her.
What does that look like though, comparing?
So it's like, for example, so aside from like my own messaging, when you think about avoiding niching down, what you're actually doing is you're trying to talk to everybody, but you don't realize that you're talking to nobody when you do that, right? Because if I'm talking to you as a woman who struggles with, you know, your own like internal woes or whatever, but she only really struggles with, you know, just wants to focus on the weight loss, then if I'm trying to call to everybody, you are not going to be like, oh, Hannie can help me, but wait, she also talked about something that I don't resonate with, right? So it's really important, like in business, but also like in my own coaching, to call to the women that I really want to work with, that I know I can literally help you with that because I've done it before, or myself I've done it, or this other client is doing it, instead of the woman who's, like I said, who's coming in who's like, I only want to lose the weight, or like, I don't care about that piece, because that doesn't resonate with me, right? That's not going to feel good. So I think like now, yes, absolutely, I'm so picky about who I work with, which is why when I speak to like my stories and stuff, again, like there's a piece of that business that I have to call in these attributes, the woman that's an action taker, the woman that doesn't only take, you know, action when it's convenient to her, the woman who's committed. Because if you hear that, one, you can start turning into the woman who like will work with me, or you hear that and you're like, not for me, which is fine, right? Because I'm not for everybody. But yeah, I think it was like important for me to like, one, work with a lot of different people, especially in the beginning, so that you can learn the attributes of people that you want to work with versus not. And then narrowing it down now to be like, no, like this is the woman that I really want to call in to my program.
I wanna tap in, because I feel like some people may get intimidated by like, okay, if you just want to lose 10 pounds, then you're on your own. But I want to say her approach isn't like that. It's more over like, you have to try to tap into yourself. And whatever your goal is, it may be more than that. And you're just ignorant to yourself. And that's okay, because ignorance is temporary. And it's scary because it's uncharted territory within yourself. I think that's the scariest place to go. It's so easy to tap into other things and distractions and other people. And like, you know, when when you compare and like do all these things. But when you tap into yourself, it's scary, especially if you haven't gone there the majority of your life, which all of us haven't. Right. Because, you know, we weren't grown up that way. Like the way the generation of our parents, like they didn't like, you know, raise us in that way to be self-aware and mentally aware, and that's not their fault. They had hard lives. So like if you're within our age range,
this generation like, is like so aware.
We're hyper, like it's hyper
aware. But we're in that generation where I think we're kind of blessed because we've touched both worlds. Wherein like the newer kids now, they're just like, I'm gonna manifest, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. They're kind of like, they're really crazy. They're born into it, but we're kind of like trying to adapt to it. So I want to say, try not to get intimidated and just find this conversation super inspirational, wherein like it kind of like sparks a light bulb in your head, like maybe I'm not thinking of the right things. And if you think it's not the right thing for you, then hey, like it's okay, right? Like what Hannie says, but maybe not necessarily the right things, but maybe you're just not shifting your focus on the right things first. So like there's a list of the things that you should be going through. Like, well, first, like priority list, right? So like your body needs certain things, and on top of the physical, you have to have love for yourself, and that's really hard to tap into sometimes when if you don't realize you have love for yourself and you feel guilty that you don't have love for yourself, then it's just, where do you go from there, right? Or you've loved yourself before, you've gotten hurt, or like, you know, there's a plethora of variations of the way you can go about this. And it's not just love for yourself, it's just understanding of your awareness, perspective, you know, your own healing journey within getting stronger muscularly and losing whatever fat, right? So like try to take that from this conversation, because like widen your mind and like kind of like be open to it.
It's a willing, like take this as a like an opportunity to have the willingness to like be aware and to learn and to tap in, like you said, like if you aren't there, at least like recognize like maybe that's something I need to tap into, or is that something I should be aware about, not again punishing yourself or getting frustrated that you're not there already, because like even us, like we are not fully aligned in beings, right? Like enlightened beings. It's like we're also on a path where like we have different milestones that we still need to hit, that we are saying like we're open to that. We don't know necessarily if we need to tap into that yet, but like, you know, in starting small, like recognizing, okay, maybe that's a pattern that has been holding me back, or this is something I want to tap into, right? It's just, again, just to like give yourself grace in this journey instead of coming from a place of like, damn it, I got to hold myself accountable for all the things I never did or haven't been doing.
I've been in that spot so many times, and that's such a lesson I've been learning in my late 20s, and it's great to not be in that headspace anymore of like, I need to be this, like then I'll be good. If I'm not doing that, then I suck. It's like, no, take that out of your mind.
Get it out.
I think before we used to think that was a positive way of thinking, but if anything, it's pretty negative. It's like the cup
like
half
punishing
empty.
yourself for no reason, and no one else is doing that but you to yourself, and you're only with yourself all day.
Yeah, and that thought in itself is really hard to realize. Right?
No,
you have to be vulnerable with yourself.
Huge. So like that's what I love. You just like segue into like my favorite topic about like accountability. So like I think a lot of us have a very negative relationship with the word accountability. Absolutely. We're like, we love to hold ourselves accountable, but like if you like break it down, you realize that you're doing it from shame, you're doing it out of guilt, you're doing it out of frustration. It's all really negative things because we've all been grown up and taught, especially in like, you know, culturally, like households, like you get punished for not doing the thing. So why would you not be punishing yourself when you don't do the things you said you were going to do? So now it's like, wait a minute, we need to rework our definition of accountability. Like accountability should be coming from a place of like understanding and openness and willingness to be like, wow, okay, that didn't work for me, but that doesn't mean I'm like, it was wrong for me, or that I did it wrong, or that I should get like mad and frustrated and punishment. It's like, okay, hold on, it's just a learning opportunity, or like an opportunity to be like aware of something like that, instead of it being like, I didn't do this, so I have to. It's like, whoa,
that's so true.
Pump the brakes.
So true. Yeah, no. Oh my God. Yeah. Accountability. Because in real estate too, you hear that a lot, especially when I'm in coaching, you hear accountability partners. And we need to hold, like, you hold me accountable for this. You hold me accountable for that. But then just like thinking about that whole thing just drains me. Like I got to go to you to tell you that I did this, and go to you to tell you that I did that. Now I don't even want to do it. So what's a healthy way to be held accountable, or like maybe it's a different way to word it. I don't know. Like what's a healthier way to go about?
Like you just mentioned, it's like you're like tattling on yourself. Like you're like accountability now feels like I just have to tell on myself that I did something bad. So I think like again, I think it always goes back to like, in a way to hold yourself accountable is more so like recognizing, okay, the feelings behind something, like the thing that you tried to do, like what were your intentions behind doing it? Were they good intentions? Were they going to try and serve you?
Yeah.
Then that means even if it didn't work out, you don't need to hold yourself accountable to say like, oh, well, that was a shit show or whatever. Right. Like I didn't do what I need to do. But instead coming from a place of like, you know what, like my intentions behind it were really good. I feel really good. Like even also like maybe even like energetically, like something kind of sparked within me when I at least tried to do the thing. Like see like all the positive things that come out of like you recognizing what you actually did versus what you didn't do.
Right.
Like let's focus on that.
Rewire.
Yeah.
Rewire.
Like and then I love when you guys were talking with Tati about like Delulu is the Salulu. Like I love all that stuff and like the lucky girl stuff because it's like the more you literally see how amazing your life is and amazing you are, more of that energy is going to flow into you and you're going to see it and people are going to see it and they're going to feel it. They're going to give it to you and everybody just like circulates this. So like, why would you not be like so delusional and so lucky that like, yes, like I'm doing great. Like I'm doing great things and things are working out for me. Of course they're going to work out for me. I'm inherently like worthy of everything working out for me. Like, why would you deny yourself that?
Absolutely. And I think as business owners too, right? Because when you're starting or not, or you're already in it,
right?
You feel obligated to create this formula for yourself, right? Create the structure, create the routines, because who else is going to tell you to do it? So like you're your own boss. But then I think I've struggled too in the past with this too, but just like, you feel like, okay, this is what I created for myself. This is the plan. Sometimes, and as women, and we've talked about this before, just cycles change and different times of the seasons change. You know, our emotions change with the seasons, what I mean. And it's just hard in the past for me to like, okay, I'm in this season of my life. This is how my energy is. But I created this plan for me to be consistent at this because I know that this formula is going to get me the results here. And it's just kind of like, and I'm learning this as I go, just accepting this is just the season of my life or like the energies that I'm in that it doesn't really support, you know, what my original plan was. But at the same time, I don't want to be too on that side where now every day is just like just random and like not following any type of structure at all. So that's just another thing that I'm working on as well. And I think falls into that realm too of like, you know, getting to know yourself but also like not being so like negative and punishing yourself for that. I'm trying to find that like middle balance.
I think like something that really helped me with like business and like my own personal life is like detaching from the outcome.
Yes.
Like detach from the fucking outcome and like fall in love with the journey, fall in love with the feelings, like fall in love with like you in the present instead of like always looking forward to like until I get there I'll be happy, until I get there I'll do this, until it's like, well, when are you actually going to hit that? Like, do you actually think you're going to like get to that point and be so happy that you got there? No, because you've like ignored all the great feelings that happened throughout this learning process. So like you said too, like same thing with like business. I'm like, I set it up and so it should work out, right? Like why would it not? And so when it doesn't, you're kind of like, okay. So I think it's great to like also learn from like when it doesn't work out to like, you know, to just sit with those feelings, but then learning how to detach and just be like, I'm okay with that. Like, I know that's a part of the journey. I know it's setting me up to like be even more successful later because it's not fun when it's like everything goes your way for now, right? Like you learn from it. Not to say like I don't want people to call in that positive energy, but it's like it's nice to know that you also can deal with those feelings, right? That you have like a regulated nervous system to be able to do that, or you have the mindset or you have the energy to be able to handle something like that because it makes like the good stuff just like that much better.
It does. It does. And I want to say, I feel like people, you need to go through your own stuff to get to a specific level of mental and emotional awareness. Like watching podcasts and like, you know, going to events. It's like the switch isn't going to switch right away, and that's okay. But like you like don't pay attention to other people's lives, kind of journeys, just kind of focus in on to yours, because what Hannie touched on just a second ago, like when you call in positivity and just start appreciating what you have and knowing you have a blessed life, just you already have that like at your fingertips, but all the distractions will tell you you don't. So so you are blessed, and I think the perspective will shift for everything else. It's not like a new like Pokemon that will just show up because like you shift your perspective. No, it's been there the whole time. Sorry, I mentioned Pokemon. I'm like a nerd, but really good analogy. Yeah. But like it'll perspectives will shift, and you will adapt. You will shift.
And take that time. Yeah. It's not a rushed thing at all. Yeah. Like, yes, it sounds great to be that woman and all that. But even when you get to that point, girl, you never know. You're still going to want to go get some more, I'm sure.
I mean, like, yearning and having a goal for constant growth, being 1% better every day is amazing. Like, we all want that. We all strive for it. But it's hard. Like, it's going to be hard, but I think everyone is more than capable of doing it because you woke up today. You know, like, count your blessings. Make that 6 goal. What is it? Non-negotiables that you give your clients. Like, do that for yourself if you're not even in a program. Like, this is like really good life things that you can approach anything with. And I think this is a good episode. I'm kind of like going off to the third person. I'm like, wow, like I'm just like listening. And I'm like, this is a really good episode.
Yeah, we're singing into it too.
No, yeah. Like even when you like mention like the whole 1% thing, something that I love to talk about is like, I love the mindset and the approach behind like wanting to be better or like a better version of yourself or tapping into that. But I also think something you need to be reminded of, like even myself, is that sometimes you just need to coast. Sometimes a part of that is also trusting in yourself and trusting that you can make a decision without also being like, is that a learning opportunity? Did I learn from this? Am I healing? Okay. Is that the 1%? It's like, hold on, you shouldn't be focusing on like healing or doing better 24/7 because
it's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. You're gonna burn the fuck out.
Yeah,
like it's exactly. Like, so reminding yourself that, hold on, sometimes like the best thing you can do is just sit with it and like tap inward and be like, okay, what feels good today? And that's it. Not I'm going to be like, okay, what can I learn from this?
Is
it exactly overthinkers? So it's like, wait a minute, you're doing everything that you were doing now to heal so that we can live that way, so that we're like coasting and feeling and just like moving through life. And because like if we're going to be healing now, we're not healing every single day in and day out. Because then like, how much more you got to do?
What you healing from?
What happened now? Like then you create new things to heal from, right? So it's like, oh my God, it's like this endless cycle. So just a reminder, like give yourself the space to just exist and be, because like why not? Hello.
Yes. No, for real. No, we be having those moments. Like, dude, I didn't do anything today. Like this is going downhill. This client did this.
It's just too much of like it's just not positive. Like I feel like it's we're either one way we're like we're gonna do
you're
this,
at the top of the world,
or we're chilling too much. We're being too delulu.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like we just find that.
But who's creating these? Who's creating these things? Like who's creating this narrative? It's us.
Yeah.
And I think again, another hard thing to realize, it's yourself.
Yeah.
I think for me, going through my own personal journey, I think that is the hardest thing to realize because I'm a very stubborn person. And like me realizing, and I don't want to like seem like, oh, like I'm so good at everything, but like I've always strived for success. I've always strived to be the best, because like it's been like everyone expects that of me, and then all the more it's an extreme version within myself. So whenever I do go through those feelings and I have those moments of realizations, it's hard. It's like heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Because you realize like, why am I doing that to myself? Or like, why would I even do that? And then you feel guilty about feeling that way. So it's just like, again, like what she said, a crazy cycle that you just have to like stand out of it. Like press pause, just be like, I'm going to go do me.
Yeah.
I'm going to go to sleep. Like, it's fine.
And
like,
be firm in your answers.
Be firm in your answers. And, like, it's okay to not be super stubborn with yourself. Be stubborn with other things. Like, be strict with other things, but be okay with not being okay.
Yeah, it's setting a boundary with yourself. I think we talk a lot about, like, set a boundary with that person. Set a boundary with that. What about yourself?
Right.
Like, what about the things that you're speaking to yourself and saying to yourself? Like, we're human beings. We're going to feel frustrated. We're going to feel those things about us. But like, you have to be able to learn how to set that boundary to say, okay, I'm noticing I'm feeling that, but like, what's my reaction to it? Do I allow myself to be like, all right, we're spiraling today? Well, okay, sometimes it's normal. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. Right. Yeah. But also then you like start to build up these like the muscles or the calluses to say like, wait, that is not my approach. Like my highest self would not respond to me that way.
Yeah.
So it's like being able to like,
that's true. Your response to yourself is the biggest part of it.
Yeah.
I wonder if the hardest thing to navigate. Probably they just don't. Yeah, know. I think everyone goes
because like
I'll
talk to my boyfriend and I'm like telling him all these like deep conversations that we're having.
Yeah,
and he's just very simple.
I just don't think men have the like the they don't have groups to do this in.
Yeah.
Like, what man is going to initiate this conversation?
Right. It's so interesting.
Right?
Imagine
Right.
men, like, I want to see that. Just, like, going deep into these kind of topics. But it's like, do they go through this much, like, in their head? Or, I don't know. Maybe they just don't tap into that as much. But it's just interesting.
I also just think there aren't opportunities for men to even tap in that much. Like, as women, like, we, like, you know, we have our tribes. It's like, together, it's maternal. Right? It's like, literally. You know, yeah. So, like, for men, like, even, like, the other day, I saw an ad for, like, a men's yoga retreat. And I was like, oh, my God, I've literally never heard of that before. Like, I've never seen photos of men, just men. You know what I mean? So, like, I think we're in a time where, like, it's getting better for men, too. Mm-hmm. But, yeah, I you know, I don't ever see men having. If you're a man and you watch this, sound off. Like, I want to know, like, do you care to have these type of conversations? Is it uncomfortable? Is it weird? Or are you just plain and simple and you guys don't really care to go that deep? You know, that's so interesting.
No, I think that's very true. There's not a lot of resources, or the narrative for men is kind of like, no, they don't feel like they don't do this and this, but no, they're human beings. Yeah. But again, we have different hormones, but again, they just don't have the resources to do so. I'm really glad they have that yoga retreat. Go.
Go to that. Go to that.
Sign up for now.
Yeah.
But yeah, tapping into men, I think growing up with men, because I'm the only girl in the family, the way that I've seen my brothers navigate through their emotions, I want to say, is like the same thing as me, very like dysfunctional and chaotic, but are so scared to show it, not only to others but to themselves. And that's just my an assessment on it. But again, they're the men. They have to be strong. They have to be the breadwinners. They have to show up for everyone and carry. But some women do too, but moreover, men just like naturally in that position. So it's just, there's a lot of different pressures that men feel that women don't feel.
Absolutely.
Different struggles, which we should tap into. I'm not a man, but
we only had one male guest on this podcast, so maybe Eugene. And our boyfriends, but that was more lighthearted. But I do want to get deep with a man and really talk about these type of things.
Yeah, because we all go through similar things. We're all human. It's not like I'm a girl and you're like a bird. Like what? Like we're all human. But that's a very interesting point, because I never thought about it that way.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is crazy. But yeah, I've always grown up very stubborn, and just knowing that there's a certainty of things not going the way I've expected it is very scary. And just, I have higher expectations for others now that I'm kind of just thinking back. I think my expectations for others are higher than the expectations I have of myself in regards to like taking care of my health and doing all these things. Because, you know, I take care of my parents. I'm like, make sure you take your medication. Mom, let's go on a walk. Brother, did you do this? Da, 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 da. But then I neglect myself. And growing up in an Asian household, we're women and we're naturally nurturing and we naturally take on, because we're empathetic, so empathetic. Like, we naturally take on the hurt and the struggle of others. And I think tapping into that as women, and then having your own goals when it comes to your own body image and your physicality, it's a lot, dude.
Yeah.
It's a lot. It's so much where women's, like, some women struggle with not even having those goals because it doesn't fit in the priority list.
Yeah.
So like, how would you approach someone like that who like kind of just doesn't know if there's room for it, like, because it's just so much happening in their lives.
Yeah, I think what you kind of just started to speak to is like that piece about like not having, like, it's self-validation, it's your relationship with your own self-worth, your relationship with self-trust. I think it starts there. It's like, if you don't even know you have the room for that, I think it starts with because you don't think you're worthy to be able to even heal and experience that. When, like, you know, what I teach a lot about is that at the end of the day, we are all inherently worthy of whatever the hell we want. Like what you want to experience on this earth, like, there is no like, only if you do this can you have that, right? Honestly, still, like, be a good person, because like bad people don't get what they want, type of thing. But like, you know, I think we get so locked up in, like, you know, your life that won't fit into my life, but like, how can you make it fit? Like, it doesn't have to look like I have to sit for the next 6 months within a coaching program and heal. No, like, what's one thing you can do tomorrow that feels really good to you to like lean into self-trust, lean into self-validation, lean into, like, you know, giving yourself your own worth, type of thing, right? So like, so that you can actually tap into the goals that you want, because you won't be able to like visualize your future self or highest self or your goals if you don't even trust that you can actually do that. Like so many women like don't start a program because they're just like, they've already lived this life that like it never worked out for me. It's never going to work out for me. Like I am not worthy to be able to even like give it another go or reach that point. So like, why would I try? When it's like, no, hold on, take a beat. Like you are worthy. Like you can have all of that. So learning how to really tap into, again, like self-trust, like where does that come from? Like in what ways, I used to always look for excuses as to like why I couldn't do this thing or why I couldn't start my own business or why I wasn't going to achieve this. And that literally stemmed from like lack of self-trust. Like I didn't think that I had it in me to be able to carry out what I wanted to, but I needed to start looking inward and be like, wait a minute, I'm not that old, but like we've lived enough life to recognize in what ways have we actually trusted ourselves in the past, or like what ways have things actually worked out because we actually trusted that we could do those things, right? So finding those little nodules of your life that show you like you have it already, like you already talked about earlier, like all of this shit is like literally right here. We just have to like literally grab into it and reach into it so that you can have this life that you want, instead of it being this like, oh God, it'll never happen for me, I just have to settle. Like, oh no, like there's no timeline, there's no end to anything. Like you just have today. You literally have today. Yeah.
Yep.
It's the self-talk. And then I think with self-trust too, I think the way you build that is actually obviously doing the things that you said you were going to do for yourself. I know, like we said, we give ourselves grace when we don't get to it, but the mere fact that you went ahead and is willing to try and then try again if you don't succeed and try again and again, I think that builds the self-trust right there. But if you just sit there and don't do anything about it, I don't think you're ever going to gain that self-trust or that confidence or anything like that. It just takes the first step today.
Right. And like you said, it's like muscle memory. Whatever you're used to, whatever you've been building upon, the habits that you have, that's a strong ass muscle already. Like you have to kind of unlearn and build it up strong, but in a different way. And other than building your muscular strength, right? Like what Hannie said, like you have to build like your love muscle, your worth muscle, like your all these things takes practice. You have to implement it and take action and not just be up in your head all day every day, because that's what I struggle with all the time, is just constantly just thinking and having like all these scenarios in my mind and like getting so overwhelmed that my body won't take any actions because my mind is overwhelmed. So like it starts with there. Like if you want to build hella muscle but you're not, and you want to have all these fitness goals but you're not building up this not new version of yourself, but I guess a new version of yourself. What did Tati call it? Tati 2.0?
Yeah, that's what I loved. Yeah, like everybody should be focusing on the 2.0 version of themselves. Like don't also leave who you were before, because that's a part of you, right? You thank her for everything that she went through and that is still going through to get there. But 2.0 is where you want to go.
Yes. Yeah. Be grateful for what you've been through. But also leave the past. Hannie tapped into earlier, and she said, don't forget about her. Don't forget about your past self and all the things that she's been through. Really appreciate her. Take what you need.
It's a piece of you.
It's a piece of you. It's a piece of your history, your story, and it's very important. But also, I think another key thing in that is like, don't take everything. Don't take all that baggage. Like leave what's in the past, because a lot of the times when we overthink and we're in our heads, a lot of times we're just thinking about what happened. And we're thinking of the scenarios over and over again. Who hurt us? Like what situation didn't work out, blah, blah, blah. And we're not being present. And also we can fixate on the future. Like you said, like, what is it? Like detach from the outcome and like
enjoy the journey.
Enjoy your journey. I think that's a really, really key mindset to have in order to live your best life and just be at peace with what you have, who you are, and just so you can just be.
I know, we've said this before, like the outcome is where we die.
Literally?
The journey is life.
Journey
like,
is life.
You're always going to be on the journey, honestly, because even when you get to whatever outcome that you're doing, like you're still going to be living life. You're still going to be aspiring for other things or want more things. So I think it's just about the journey period.
It's not about the journey period. And then letting go of your like hyperfixation on like individual situations that you are expecting an outcome. It's kind of like you're expecting an Amazon package and it's supposed to deliver tomorrow. But it didn't deliver. And it didn't come.
I know.
And it didn't come. And you're like, it didn't turn out the way it's supposed to. Then you want to return it. But the lady that's running that little shop, she's like, no, you can't return it. Blah, blah, blah. And you're like crying because you lost money. So, right? My analogies. Pokemon, Amazon.
Okay.
Man, wow, I'm on the roll today.
But yeah, you get the gist. I feel like keep it simple.
Keep it simple. Keep it cute.
Keep it cute. We always say that.
Speaking of cute and simple, me and Serena attended the most beautiful event yet of, I don't know, my experience.
I've never been to something like that before. So.
Yeah. So if you want to tap into what had happened previous days.
So we hosted something called Align, and it was a wellness brunch. Mm-hmm. And this was born out of like a dream that I've had forever, I think, because for all of us, we had a dream to just like have just like our women around us, like to be so surrounded by like this energy, this like love, this everything. And I wanted to create Align because I was actually getting burnt out from like networking events. Like I love women supporting women. I love collaborating. I love how we can grow together. But I think like I was missing that piece where I was like, I'm talking to a woman and all we're talking about is our businesses. So then I was recognizing that we are putting our business in front of us first. I'm like, why are we doing this? So I was getting so burnt out because I was like, I want to know who you are, like behind the money, the business, whatever. Like that's great. That's a part of our lives, but like that's not who you are. Right. So I wanted Align to be a space for us to come together and be like, who are you outside of your title? You're not a mom. You're not whatever title you like labeled yourself, that you're just here to like release, to heal, to feel empowered, to feel alignment, to recognize what alignment was. So it was funny because I thought about this for years and years and years because I was like, I won't do it until I blah, blah, blah. But I was like, fuck this shit. Like I need this now. We all need this now, especially when I started like the first set of like the market research and recognizing so many women like answering our questions and they're saying they needed something literally like this. I was like, okay, yes, like this was the perfect time for something like this because like you said, there really isn't anything like this for women anywhere because we have like yoga retreats and like how that, but that's like only like, not like, whatever.
We love those.
Yeah, we love those. They serve their own purpose. But like, I wanted something where it's just like here, like also within your own city. You don't have to travel so far to do it. Like, it's like right now that you set aside time to like tap in with yourself. And I reached out to 4 other amazing local coaches to like do this with me because I just felt like this energy, this, like I was even like, I don't even think any of us have known each other for like longer than less than a year or anything like that. Just because it just felt like it clicked. Like your energy, we need to bring this, like whatever, like lunch, we had like brunch and lunch together. We're like, we need to bring this to like women around us. Like, I want this on a bigger scale. And I wanted it to just like come from a place of love. And like, it was like you said, it was just like amazing. Like I'm still riding the high from the event.
The circle of women too are just like the women like of Sacramento. Like in that wellness fitness I think of you guys. I mean, I knew pretty much all of you guys except for maybe one of them, but after meeting her, I'm like, oh wow, I love her energy as well. And it was such a beautiful, coming from a person that just attended the event. Again, I've never been to anything like it. I feel like the way that, and I'm like, okay, I know Hannie's behind all this because the way that it was organized, like you are the like coordinator, like you know how to do things. Let me just say, them giveaways, you are spoiling us. Like I swear, I won one of them.
And I
was like, damn, I never got a gift basket like this. This is a lot.
I know,
but the way that it was just organized, I love that. We were sitting by people we didn't know. Like we were in arranged seating. It was beautiful. I didn't even know about this place in the first,
social.
It was really pretty, and it was just all around like good energy, and like it's just nice to be around all these women, and it's no like negative vibes, like and everyone's just so willing to chat, and like the fact that I didn't know the women at my table, and funny because our table, like there was a lot of people at each table, but our table, for some reason, people were absent on our table. Like half our table was not there. So it was just 4 of us. And I felt like in that way, it was a little bit more intimate, and we got to really get deep about things. We had like questions on the table that we can answer and really get into. So it was really nice to hear. We were damn near giving each other advice. Because we're, each person had their own struggle, and like, oh no, I experienced that. Like, let me tell you how I got through that. And like, all that. And it was great. Food was so good. A lot of photo ops. Everyone was just so beautiful. And then just hearing your guys' stories definitely took that with me. I journaled about it the next morning just so that I can like ground myself, and the whole theme of like alignment. It's so big, and something that you should like tap into, especially within your self love and self like awareness journey. Like alignment is a big thing. So what made you think of like that title?
The girls and I came up with it together. Like we were literally just at brunch or lunch or something like that, trying to figure out like what kind of event was this going to be? What did we want women to take away from? I'm pretty sure it was like, Tati, you said like align, and we're like, align, like that's it, like, right, like we all want alignment, like, and a lot of us too, like you might hear that and you might be like, well, I don't really know what that looks like in my life, which is why we created the event, so that we could share our own stories with alignment and what it meant to us, so that we could unlock this for you guys to start to like inch and touch and feel and be like, oh, okay, like that's what alignment might feel like or look like, or be able to resonate with our stories to say like, oh, I might be at that point and this is where she went with it, or you know, she's here now but she's also going here, that you can say, oh, okay, like that inspiration piece behind what we wanted to was just so that you could see and learn from us and hear from us, and also like I said, just be able to resonate and say, wow, like I'm not alone in all the things that I struggled with or whatever. And like you said too, like we were really intentional about the questions we had on the table for you guys to go through, so it wasn't this like, what do you do? No, what do you do for work? It's like, no, I don't care about that. Let's go deep. Sorry, but like we're going real deep today because that. We just didn't, we don't have opportunities like that ever in our life, except for when we get together with our girls and it's like a girls' night and you get to talk. But like, when do you also just like get to meet other women and open up
walks of life?
Yeah, and different walks of life and like interlock, like, you know, she's walk this life where like your friend may have never walked and you wouldn't get that from her. Now you're like being forced into a space where, like we said too, like you're not sitting next to your friend. If you came with a friend, we put you somewhere else just so that you can really like also just not feel like you had to share specific pieces of you, or like you couldn't because she's like your friend and whatever. Like it was just like a space for like clean slate, like let's go into this. So that's exactly what we wanted Align to be.
I felt different in that space, even though we were surrounded by women. Again, I had never attended anything like that, other than our small little get-together for her table. But just on that scale, so many beautiful women there. I felt personally different. Not in a sense wherein like, oh, like I have to act different, I have to act cool. Right. But no, like my energy was different because I was surrounded by all these people, and just the intention you already set without even talking yet for the event, on top of it being hella aesthetic. It's like aesthetic overload. You guys really set the tone for what people already knew what to expect. So I really loved that, for it being your very first line, and I can't wait for the next one. And I know you guys wanted to talk about more, but with the time allotted, I think you guys did more stuff. I know. I think you guys did an amazing job. Just like a soft opening to what you guys want for the long run. And when you guys shared your stories, I think it kind of like it dimmed down the energy a little bit, and kind of everyone kind of just focused in what everyone was saying, because it was really high energy. Everyone's getting food, everyone's like laughing, all these questions, like everyone looks so pretty, you know, like but then when you guys started talking, the energy kind of just like calm down. And what I really loved about that is you guys were so vulnerable in your storytelling, and you only had like a minute to talk. So like you guys said a lot, and it spoke more than your businesses. And a lot of people, I think, I knew what to expect, but I was thinking of all the other women in there that haven't never been around this before, have never been exposed to it, came alone. Like I think from there, I feel like everyone understood what was actually happening and like the goal of the event. When like, okay, we can talk about business all day, but like we're women and we go through real life struggles. Like we have mental health issues. We thought we wanted to give up, but we didn't feel safe. We didn't feel welcome. Like, you know, all these things are very valid and women go through all the time. So like, I think the tone you guys set, not only with your individual stories and like the advice you wanted to impart to everyone through your own personal story, it just really set the tone for everyone in the room. Because right after that, we did the sound bath, right? And like we got into meditation. Like that was my first time. Well, I pray, I'm Christian, and that's just a different form of meditation. But this was so out of body. Like I've never experienced meditation guided like this before, wherein like there's sounds and you focus on Tati's voice. Obviously her voice is so soothing, but like even though there was a lot going on and we're tapping into your individual stories, I think it really helped me reflect on mine. Especially with the meditation, like when we were closing our eyes and we're just focusing on breathing, like I was just thinking about all of these different things like floating around me, and then like all of them went away.
I love the scenario of you're sitting and think of the most beautiful place.
Yeah.
I really took it there. I really felt myself like reaching out to myself and like grabbing her and just being like, let's go.
Yeah. Just visualize, like I've never experienced that, like just visualizing myself and like really our mind can do wondrous things. And like I felt so much, I don't know, I felt so much lighter. I even started to cry.
Yeah.
I felt really emotional because like, you know, we're going through a lot individually. And so like with that, you followed up with the letter to yourself. And on the show, we kind of do that just a little bit. But writing it was a different out-of-body experience too, because I hardly journal. I used to journal when I was younger, but Serena's always telling me, you should journal, you should journal, you should have a Google Calendar. Okay, I got it. I'm doing it now. But after the letter, you're like, okay, I only saw the front, which was like of a letter to my future self.
Yeah.
But never have I saw like the flip side where I wanted to talk to my younger self in a writing form.
Yeah.
So I really loved that. And like everyone was just writing, like, because we knew how we exchanged at the end. Some of them were kind of like surface level, and that was fine. They didn't want to reveal too much.
Yeah.
They were like, you're gonna live your best life. I'm so proud of you. You know, like all the powerful women empowerment things to themselves, which was amazing to see. But I really dove in. Like I only had a little bit of space, but I was just like, dude, you're at a line right now. You're at a line right now. It's like 1 p.m. You're wearing that really pretty dress you've always liked to wear. You only got to wear it once. Like you're in Sacramento. It's this time. This is what you're going through. Like this is what's happening in your family. This is how you're currently feeling. And I wanted to remind you of that, just so that when you look back, like I hope you've grown from it, and I hope you realized all these things aren't so dark, right? Like I really went in because the meditation, like step by step, like that's a formula. Like I'm like, man, like, one, I need to be surrounded by people. 2, I need to really be in tune with myself. And 3, I just really need to like reflect. And so like that's what I got from Align. On top of talking to everyone around me, I get overstimulated very easily. So I try not to like get overstimulated, but I really wanted to dive into all the other ladies on my table. Everyone is so beautiful. Like I met a doula, I met a like girl who works in life insurance, like I met a girl who came here by herself. So it was really nice. And like for it to be that scale, but for it to feel so intimate, I think you guys did really good. That's just what I took from the line. But yeah, I think it goes deeper than just women trying to get together and create a community and like all the foo-foo, right? But
it's
like
great and all, but
it's great. Like it's great. Look, no, it is great. But like what you guys can bring differently is just the human factors of things.
We don't see that often around here.
Yeah. Because then it makes people think. Like it made me think. Like okay, like I'm here to feel amazing, to be inspired, to like to feel aligned, right? But again, like you said, there's some women in there that don't know what that means or doesn't know what that feels like. And I feel like you guys did a great job at letting these women know that you don't have to be aligned. Like being aligned doesn't mean like you should start your own fitness program and like be like me and have your own events. You know, I don't think I don't think it read that way, which was amazing, because some events are like that. Like like you want to be in line and you want to be successful, like follow these steps. And I don't think it was like that at all.
It's like here's the blueprint, and then here's I'm gonna pitch you at the end. Like
wait, hold on. No. And I think what really helped is just you guys just speaking. Like just talking, and like I loved it. It was a beautiful event. So
thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
No, I think what you mentioned too about that piece of like maybe like there were some women that you know they read their letter and it was very surface level, but I think a piece of like you mentioned earlier, like that being scared of like, wow, this is my first time like even writing a letter to myself. So like, what do I say? Right?
Know.
We didn't tell you what to say. We didn't really give you much of a prompt. It's more just like what comes kind of flows. So like for the women who didn't really get to go deep, like that's totally fine. That's your first experience. But I love that we forced you guys to share so that you could hear what other women were telling to themselves, so that then you can go home and be like, okay. This is the type of things that I can tap into with myself. So it was great that there were so many different people at different points of like their alignment journey,
right?
From like literally ground zero to like so wherever you are.
The same.
Then you're just like you're not learning from it. Or you're not sharing, and you're not getting deeper. So it's like I like that you mentioned that. Like I didn't even think that could be a piece where
it is.
There's just clean slate where like you came into this and you're like, wow, like I don't even know where to take that, and now I have different avenues to like kind of go down the alignment journey.
Yes. It was a beautiful day, and I think I'm just so happy I met you at her table.
For real.
No,
you brought Hannie, but I brought Tati.
Oh yeah.
So like we put together that list.
Yeah.
And we're like, oh my god, we have like the baddest bees in Zocalo right now. And like it's just so amazing. Like meeting you guys, and then you guys finally
and
connecting.
This has been a couple months.
And literally it was quick.
And then boom, align. And then boom, like I finally met all the women in Women's Strength Co.
Yeah.
I'm just like, dang, like
I
the
love
ripple
how
effect
everyone's
go
connecting,
crazy.
and I'm just ready to like keep going.
Yeah, me too.
What else can we do? And just have fun with it, and then getting to know more people in the community. Again, SAC is small or whatever, but honestly, there's just all these new people to meet, and it's really awesome to do it in different types of settings too.
So I'm excited for my future self to collab with Align. And it's just the notion and just the awareness of knowing that we can help others is just it speaks for itself, right? So like you guys, we all do that in our own separate ways, but again, they all align together in the same purpose.
Align. I'm telling you, it's like the word of the year, the word of my life for the rest of my life.
Exactly. And it's more, and alignment is specific to you guys, right? It's not just what Serena goes through, what Hannie goes through, what Callie goes through. It's just, you have to take that for yourself and run with it. So thank you so much.
Thank you for the
thank
gem.
you for the gem.
Oh my God.
Boom, boom. Yeah, no. We like to dive into a couple questions. It's kind of like just like the letters that we had at
kind of identical.
It's identical. No, the letters. So the first question that we ask our guests before we sign off is, what would you tell your younger self? What would you like to tell your younger self? Or if you have any questions or anything like that, I'll let you think, and then we can go ahead and share.
I think I want to go with the first thing that comes to my mind. And like what I even talked about at Align, and even like throughout our conversation, is that like that self-validation piece, like especially being like a woman, firstborn, elder, like woman, whatever, like even like growing up, I think I was always kind of told not to like toot my own horn, but like you get people telling you like, you're so good at this, like, oh my gosh, you're so good at that, like, oh my God, you're also good at this. And so that started to create that thing of like, okay, people like to tell me this, like I want to keep on feeling this. And so like everything I was doing in my life was coming from a place of like, I want people to validate me and tell me that I'm really good and that I'm really amazing and that I'm worthy of blah, blah, blah. And like, I wish like my younger self just knew that needed to come from me first, because like I thought those the external validation felt good, but honestly it really didn't. It was just like a mask of like things that I should have said to myself. Like it feels so much better now when I'm able to like step into a mirror and be like, I wake up and I'm like, yeah, like you're that bitch, like you're doing that thing, and you're, you know, you've done amazing things already, and you are doing amazing things, instead of like waiting for somebody to tell me that I was like of value or worth it. And I learned that throughout like my own business career, of like people telling me I wasn't worth it, and then me being like, okay, maybe I'm not worth it yet, or I won't be worth it until blah blah blah, or I need you to tell me when I'm going to be worth it. When it was like, wait a minute, you get to choose that, you get to determine that, you should be the one who recognizes that you are inherently worthy, or that, you know, you need to be telling yourself these things and validating yourself, because external validation is great. Like I'm not going to say like I never want to hear that ever again, but it's like it doesn't mean anything if you aren't able to do that for yourself.
So. You hear that, Hannie?
Yeah, I know.
You hear
Listen,
that?
rewind,
little girl.
Listen again.
All you guys listening.
Go ahead, Christina.
And the next question is, you're basically going to talk into the camera, and you're going to talk to your future self. Like, what do you want to let her know? Like, let's say future Hannie is looking back at this episode 5-10 years later. What would you want to tell her right now?
You're good. Like you are doing everything you ever wanted to do. Even looking forward, you're able to look in your current self and say, I am there. Like I'm already there. I'm not looking ahead all the time. I'm currently sitting here. I'm enjoying my life. I'm loving it. It's plentiful. It's abundant. It's joy. It's fun. It's laughter. Like you have it already. Like don't continue to try to go to the next point, because you're already there. Like you have it right here, right now. Experience it and sit with it.
You hear that, Hannie? We love that. Thank you so much for being on.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, very enlightening, getting emotional.
Yeah, as always.
That's new. But thank you guys for tuning in to this episode of For My Future Self. We hope you guys liked this episode with Hannie. Follow her.
What's your at?
It's Coach Hannie, Hannie.
Period.
Yeah, we'll have you back.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
We'll run it back. We're running it back.
back.
Let's not talk until that. Don't worry about it, y'all. Mind your business. But we'll hope to see you guys on the next episode.
Love you guys.
Love you guys.
Tune in to the next one.